Donald Trump, the first black president, as everybody knows, absolutely gets rid of, I was going to say demolishes, but he's not really demolishing it. He's getting rid of the Department of Education, but what he has in store for it is going to be way better. And on top of that, RFK is starting to handle all the school meals and everything. Like, his whole plan is coming together very, very quickly, I think. A lot of people may disagree. I think his plan's coming together really well. You just got to give him more than 3 months. So many people, they're like, egg prices haven't gone down. The guy's hand's still up. Why are the egg prices still so high? Let him get his hand off the Bible. Give him this time next year. Wait and see where everything's at. Hopefully Canada's a state. I pray Canada's a state. Ireland too, but we'll get into that further down the all these tabs I got open. But we'll get into it. It's there, trust me. All right, let's get into it.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I'd like to start by saying that our country is doing very well. Things are, as you can see, doing quite well. Please sit down. Before we begin, I just want to announce that I signed a proclamation a few moments ago honoring the 250th anniversary of Patrick Henry's famous speech to the Second Virginia Convention, in which he declared very well-known, very famous words, "Give me liberty or give me death." Has anyone heard the phrase? I think most of you have. And moments ago, I also signed an executive order to dramatically increase production of critical minerals and rare earths. It's a big thing in this country, and as you know, we're also signing agreements in various locations to unlock rare earths and minerals and lots of other things all over the world, but in particular Ukraine. We're doing very well with regard to Ukraine and Russia, and one of the things we are doing is signing a deal very shortly with respect to rare earths with Ukraine, which they have tremendous value in rare earth, and we appreciate that. And we spoke yesterday with, as you know, President Putin and President Zelensky, and we would love to see that come to an end, and I think we're doing pretty well in that regard. So hopefully we could save thousands of people a week from dying. That's what it's all about. They're dying so unnecessarily, and I believe we'll get it done. We'll see what happens, but I believe we'll get it done. Today we take a very historic action that was 45 years in the making. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. And it sounds strange, doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it, and everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right, and I hope they're going to be voting for it, because ultimately it may come before them, but everybody knows it's right, and we have to get our children educated. We're not doing well with the world of education in this country, and we haven't for a long time. And we're pleased to be joined today by the woman who I chose because she's an extraordinary person. And hopefully she will be our last Secretary of Education, Lynda McMann. Lynda, thank you. Thank you very much.
Was it so left field for anyone else that Lynda McMann ended up being in this position? I didn't understand that at all. I guess there's, who else would it be, really? I mean, what is he going to do? Put Tim Scott there or something? I guess it has to be someone who he knows personally, who doesn't need the job and is actually okay with it just disappearing. You know what I mean? She's married to a billionaire, so she doesn't really need it. But when I first heard that, I was like, wait a second, what? Is that Lynda McMann? With the daughter? The daughter with who's smacking around Vince McMahon and Shane? I used to love watching that. Before I turned 10 years old, man, that was a show to watch. My cousin was actually in the WWE.
Another interesting statement. It's an interesting opening, right? But it's true, and people, it's been amazing how popular this has been. I tell people that this is what I'm doing today, and they say, oh, it's about time. Everybody says it. Republicans and Democrats have said it. They're all saying it. Also with us are some terrific people. Governors Greg Abbott. Greg, thank you very much. Governor Ron DeSantis, thank you very much, Ron. Mike Braun, congratulations on your victory, Mike. That was a big one. Mike DeWine, thank you very much, Mike. Jeff Landry. Jeff, thank you very much, Jeff. Bill Lee, thank you. Governors, all governors. Brad Little. Brad, thank you very much. Where are you, Brad? Hi, Brad. Jim Pilan, thank you very much, Jim. And Kim Reynolds. These are all people very interested in education. And I even see Dan Patrick over there, my friend Dan Patrick. We're joined also by Representatives Tim Walberg and Virginia Fox, Rick Allen, Michael Rulli. And again, Dan Patrick, thank you very much, Dan. You've been a great friend of ours. And State Attorneys General Ken Paxton. Ken, I see you there. Andrew Bailey. Andrew, what a job you've done, Andrew. You have some good cases going. You've done a great job. Thank you very much. And co-founder of Moms for Liberty, Tiffany Justice. She's been a hard worker.
Naming every single person in the crowd. Every single person. He's just going to go down the whole list. Every single person. Get ready for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. When President Carter created the Federal Education Department in 1979, it was opposed by members of his own cabinet, as well as the American Federation of Teachers, the New York Times editorial board, and the famed Democrat Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. History has proven them right, absolutely right. After 45 years, the United States spends more money on education by far than any other country, and spends likewise by far more money per pupil than any country, and it's not even close. But yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success. It's an amazing stat. Those are two stats you don't want. The most money spent per pupil, and you're at the bottom of the list. And that's where we are, like it or not, and we've been there for a long time. 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in either reading or in math, 70%. 40% of 4th graders lack even basic reading skills, can't read. Students in our public elementary and middle schools score worse in reading today than when the department opened by a lot. In Baltimore, 40% of the high schools have 0 students who can do basic mathematics. Not even the very simplest of mathematics. I said, give me your definition of basic, and they're talking about like adding a few numbers together. Despite these breathtaking failures, the department's discretionary budget has exploded by 600% in a very short period of time, and it employs bureaucrats.
Imagine having that bad of a track record, just as the department altogether, just education altogether. And you're in an uproar when Trump's like, we should get rid of this. And they're all like, whoa, you got to give us at least another 100 years. Like, what? No, you're done. That's it. This is over. This is no longer necessary. It's just getting worse and worse. Honestly, I mean, let's be real. These kids would be better off hopping on YouTube, hopping on ChatGPT, and learning everything there. I'm just saying, you could learn basic math from ChatGPT nowadays, okay? I don't like where AI is going. I don't like what it's looking like in the horizon. I don't like the future of it. But I'm just saying, they would do a lot better job. Plus, all the teachers are activists now. They're activists. You walk into the class and they just got rainbow shorts on. They're wearing rainbow rings. They have a BLM flag behind them with a Palestinian flag and a Ukrainian flag, and they're communists. It's wild. And they want to have private conversations with kids without the parents knowing. It's just the weird. I could not imagine, because there still has to be some regular kids out there. Not all of them are just like, oh, I'm non-binary. Not all of them are like that. The regular kids who just have regular parents and they walk in and they see that, they must be like, what is going on here? This seems weird. School already sucks enough. And then you have people in front of you, actually, my name is Miss, this is 6'5" guy, and they're like, I'm a man, I'm a ma'am. Don't forget, it's they and he. And you're like, what? As a kid, I wouldn't be able to do it. I couldn't do school when the teachers were normal. I don't know what it would be like now.
Democrats in buildings all over Washington, D.C. And as a former real estate person, I will tell you, I ride through the streets of Washington and it says Department of Education, Department of Education. I said, how do you fill those buildings? It's crazy what's happened over the years. I'm pleased to report that after offering these federal employees 2 generous buyout options, and they were very generous, and they're good people, but they were very generous. My administration has initiated a reduction in force, and we're already cutting numbers that were really surprising to a lot that we were able to do it so successfully. And we've cut the number of bureaucrats in half. 50% have taken office, which is great. Thank you. Under the action I'm taking today, a small handful of Democrats and others that we have employed for a long time, and there are some Republicans, but not too many, I have to be honest with you. But the department's useful functions, and such as, and they're in charge of them, Pell Grants, Title I funding, resources for children with disabilities and special needs will be preserved, fully preserved. They're all going to be so. If you look at the Pell Grants, it's supposed to be a very good program, Title I funding and resources for children with special disabilities and special needs. They're going to be preserved in full and redistributed to various other agencies and departments that will take very good care of them. And that's very important to Lynda, I know, and it's very important to all of us. But beyond these core necessities, my administration will take all lawful steps to shut down the department. We're going to shut it down and shut it down as quickly as possible. It's doing us no good. We want to return our students to the states where just some of the governors here are so happy about this. They want education to come back to them, to come back to the states, and they're going to do a phenomenal job. You know, if you look, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, I have to tell you, I give them a lot of credit. China's top 10. And so we can't now say that bigness is making it impossible to educate, because China is very big. But you have countries that do a very good job in education. And I really believe, like some of the governors here today, from states that run very, very well, including a big state like Texas, but states that run very well are going to have education that will be as good as Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and those top, Finland, those top countries that do so well with education. I think they'll do every bit as well. And what do you think about that, Governor? Do you agree? Huh? I think so. Ron, do you agree? I think so. Florida?
It's interesting. You know, he brings up China and all these other places. He is correct in the fact that, you know, China's huge and they're in the top 10, and we all know how they roll when it comes to education. It's militant. Everybody is trying to impress the dynasty of 1,000 years before them. It's huge. Even the ones that are in America and Canada, their parents are like, we will give you a amazing car. We will pay for your whole life. All you have to do is do well in school. They're really into it. The fact that, you know, a lot of American kids, black, white, and otherwise, you know, American-born kids are having such trouble, and they're fighting against Trump doing this whole thing, closing this department down. It kind of I shouldn't say kind of. This shows the corruption that's afoot, because no one has any solutions. right? He's talking about basic math. They can't do basic math. They're failing constantly, not being able to read. No one's like, well, I have the solution. Hold on a second here. Everybody's just like, no, you can't cut that. So the only thing they seem really attached to is the money. However much money, how much money does it get? How much money does the Department of Education get every single year? Hold on a second. Let me see this. Let me just see this really quick. How much money does the Dep of Education get every year? Let's see here. Department of Education. U.S. Department of Education spent $268 billion in fiscal year of 2024. That's crazy. Which was 4% of the total federal spending of $6.8 trillion. Those numbers are just so unfathomable. How do you listen? Look at that number that I just said, 6.8 trillion. How do you not steal money when there's that much money? You know, I'm not speaking for these people. I'm not trying to shoot them some bail or anything, but that's a lot of money. It's hard. It must be really hard to just think. How do you not think I should be able to just take $2 million of those dollars and just have it? I should be able to do that. No one will even notice. And they're right. They're 100% right. They misplaced $2 billion and Doge found it. And they're like, hey, we found this money that was lost. And they're like, oh, thanks. Like, somebody put that aside. That's what was going on, obviously. But $268 billion. That's what it seems like they're more attached to than anything. Not the actual education system. Not the Department of Education.
Iowa. That's right. I really believe that. They'll be as good as any of them. And then you'll have some laggards, and we'll work with them. And we can all tell you who the laggards will be right now, probably, but let's not get into that. But we'll work with them, and we're going to make them, they'll do a job. I think they'll do a job, and they'll go to sections of the state. For instance, New York, you'll have a Manhattan, and you'll have a Suffolk County, and you'll have a Nassau County, and you'll have Westchester County. You'll do 4 or 5 or 6 of them. You have upstate New York, and those counties, I think, are going to do very well. And I think ultimately Manhattan should do very well. But we'll break it down into sections, and I think it'll be really, really good, and they're going to be probably the tougher ones, but I think they have a chance to do really well. But we're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs, and this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work. Absolutely, it's going to work, and I can tell you from dealing with the governors and others in the state, they want it so badly. They want to take their children back and really teach their children individually. Probably the cost will be half, and the education will be maybe many, many times better. So we look forward to this. I want to just make one little personal statement. Teachers, to me, are among the most important people in this country. And we're going to take care of our teachers. And I don't care if they're in the union or not in the union. That doesn't matter. But we're going to take care of our teachers. And I believe the states will take actually better care of them than they are taken care of right now. They'll work all sorts of systems and even merit systems. Those great teachers are going to be maybe a little bit better rewarded, or maybe that's the way it should be, but the states are going to make that decision. But we're going to love and cherish our teachers along with our children, and they're going to work with the parents, and they're going to work with everybody else, and it's going to be an amazing thing to watch, and it's really going to be something special. And Lynda, you're presiding over something that's so important, and you're going to do a fantastic job, just like you have your whole life. I know your whole life I've been watching you. I've been watching you for a long time. She's had nothing but success. So it's tremendous to have you, and hopefully you won't be there too long, but we're going to find something else for you, Lynda, okay? So this will conclude what we are talking about with respect.
It's actually smart to have someone like her step in and do this whole thing, because it seems very easy. Like he just said, we'll find something else for you to do. So anytime he wants to dissolve something, but have somebody there who's going to be a complete loyalist, and he just knows 100% they're going to be a loyalist, he can just send her in. That's it. He just sends her in. She sits there. She goes, okay, it's here. And then she probably knows a thing or two because she's been a part, like, when it comes to WWE, I don't know if you know, but the whole family's involved. It wasn't just storylines and having them on camera. The whole family's involved in the back end, the front. Everybody in the family is involved, especially Vince, Lynda, Stephanie, Shane. That's the immediate family, and many others as well. And I'm talking about their wives, their kids, like everybody's involved. So she knows a thing or two about running a business. And think about the easiest thing. You've helped create $1 billion business, and now someone's looking at you saying, here's one that's way more money, but we want you to just destroy it. We want it just gone. Okay? You don't need to mess it up. We don't need you to blow it up. This is just going to be a structured falling of a building. Think of that. Like 2 buildings that are just completely, they're just structured perfectly, and it's just like a controlled demolition type of thing, you know? You know what I mean? Anyway.
To our most cherished group of people, and that's our children. We want to have our children well educated. We want them to love going to school. We have examples of it. Look at those beautiful, bright-eyed faces. They are so smart. They're so smart. And with that, I'm going to come down, and we're going to sign a very important document, and we're going to be on our way. People have wanted to do this for many, many years, for many, many decades. And I don't know, no president ever got around to doing it, but I'm getting around to doing it, so thank you very much.
No one ever wanted to get around to do it. It was $268 billion. Are you kidding me? They're all in a class, this classroom setting. And one thing I do have a question about when it comes to this whole thing is, how is this going to be better now that it's in the hands of the state? You know what I mean? How is the state going to do better than the Department of Education? Or is this just going to lead to more of the same with a vast amount of more people being held responsible? I don't know.
To the country, and I said, let's use that same pen. I don't know, is anybody superstitious? Ron, are you superstitious? Let's use that same pen.
Love that one of these pens.
Okay. Can you come up just to say? Very important, big factor here. Good luck.
There you have it. History has been made. Donald Trump is getting rid of the Department of Education. And again, very smart to have Lynda McMann in this position because she's not held to anybody. She's literally just a friend of Trump, could care less about Democrat, Republican. She's just doing what he wants done. That's it. And he needs more of that. So, and you know, they can't shame her. There's no emotional blackmail that they can try and put her through. So I like the whole thing. I think it's very, very smart. But anyways, let's move on. We got